Superheroes, Real and Real Life Heroes, Part 1. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the podcast of The Ordinary Maverick. This is Ajay, your host, an ordinary maverick sharing real life thoughts and experiences and maverick tips. If you haven't hit the subscribe button yet, please do so, and you'll not miss another episode. And just like that, we are in March, the third month of the year, and the start and end of the first quarter of 2022. And maybe you all are also feeling a bit under. What with all the New Year rush to get things done, dealing with the changing dynamics of the COVID 19 pandemic, and the horrifying realities of war and politics in general. It's no wonder that even though it's just the third month of the year, for some of us it seems like we have been in 2022 forever. It's time for a dose of the superheroes. There's something about superheroes. We have all spent our childhood days reading and watching movies and shows about different superheroes: Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Spider Man, and most recently, in the last few decades, the Iron Man, Captain America, and so many more. So, how do we define a superhero or a superheroine? Well, these are characters that possess superpowers, abilities beyond those of ordinary people, and they use these powers to help the world become a better place or dedicate themselves to protecting the public and fighting crime. One finds this genre of fiction centered around superhero fiction since the 1930s in American comic books and later in Hollywood films, television shows, and video games. One also finds this kind of fiction in Japanese media. We also see that superheroes come from many different backgrounds and origins. Some getting their status from technology, like the Iron Man, and some with experiments gone different, like the Spider Man, while some use magic, like Doctor Strange. But regardless of their powers or origins, they all give us that one thing: inspiration. Superheroes inspire us and give us hope. And with inspiration, the world is yours. Speaking of worlds, I'm truly amazed by the creativity and the different worlds and galaxies that our superheroes live in. Actually, it's more than just amazing. It's also so very confusing, especially for folks that haven't been following and keeping track. Recently, we were watching the entire Spider Man series at home, and our daughter created an entire presentation for Spider Man and the various universes. Man, that was impressive. Family members watching these presentations were like, wow, it's all so clear now. Imagine needing an entire overview. That's what complicated is all about. But hey, when it's superheroes, who cares? Complication is all part of the game. And that's another thing we learn from our superheroes, apart from the myriad of qualities they display, like courage, honesty, humility, sense of what's right, responsibility, leadership, and love. My 4-year-old niece has been a huge fan of superheroes ever since she was just 2. And it was pretty amazing to see her grasp the different stories with all the intricacies and totally enjoy and get engrossed in the movies and the shows. Well, all this talk about superheroes and heroines reminds me of some other kind of heroes: the real life and the real life heroes and heroines. Often enough, we fall in love with the characters portrayed by these actors in their movies, and of course, by default, start admiring the person and the actor too. All of us have gone through the stages of different actors and actresses, including the poster stage where we pin up our favorite heroes and heroines in our bedroom walls and collect all kinds of memorabilia, their autographs, etc. when opportunity presents itself. Come to think of it, movies stir our imagination and teach us so many things in an entertaining mode. And the real life heroes and heroines play a significant role in these movies. We have lived in countries that have major movie industries like India with Bollywood, Tollywood, Collywood, Mollywood, Sandalwood, Dhollywood, Pollywood, Bhojiwood. yeah, uh, these are the names of the regional film industries in India, going with the different languages. All multi-million dollar industries with huge stakes in money, but also providing employment to millions of people, and of course, entertaining one of the world's largest population. And then we have Nollywood, the Nigerian film industry, where we have lived for a few years. Again, one of the largest industries, actually the second largest in terms of the number of films it produced each year, after India's Bollywood industry, which is producing about 2,500 films a year. And one of the mainstays for any movie are the real life heroes and heroines. It's an experience getting lost in a world, in a completely different world for a few hours while watching a movie. Recently, more than ever before, there has been a trend of sorts, kind of making movies and television shows on real life heroes and heroines, portraying real life stories and bringing these to a larger audience. In fact, many of these movies and shows have been blockbusters, and movies based on true stories and real life experiences give us a chance to understand the human spirit better. Some of the greatest films about real life heroes are Schindler's List, Braveheart, Gandhi, Lincoln, Hidden Figures, and so many more. It's actually really tough to make a biopic. Real life stories on reels are difficult to make as well as enact. Benchmarks are already set by the person themselves, and playing that role can be daunting. But if done well, these movies stand out. Nothing can compare to a real life situation and a real life hero or heroine demonstrating the resilience, courage, and hope of the human spirit. Many of us have watched movies like this, like The Rain Man, Eat, Pray, Love, The Pursuit of Happiness, The King's Speech, Out of Africa, A Beautiful Mind, Erin Brockovich, and so many more that are based and adapted from real life stories. But you know what? We are surrounded by our own heroes and heroines in our lives. We just don't actually pay attention to it and often miss them. One story that's been repeatedly shared with me in our family is when my wife was just about 3 years old, got down from a kindergarten school bus somewhere before her actual home stop, which, as you can imagine, caused quite a bit of stir as well as some harrowing moments for her parents, my in laws. The bus arrived at the stop and their 3 year old daughter isn't there. Imagine the shock, the panic, and then the action. The bus driver said that she had gotten down earlier with another kid. Of course, the whole thing about how she got down earlier, etc., needed to be addressed for sure. But for now, the main thing was to find her. Well, they started retracing the route of the bus, and a few minutes down the route, they find her. An elderly woman was slowly walking with her and her friend, holding their hands and patiently asking them in front of each of the buildings on the way whether this was their building and their home. Wow, there's your real life hero, or to be grammatically correct, heroine. I mean, anything could have happened to the two small children just standing by the side of the road in a busy city with no adult supervision. But for this kind woman who obviously understood that the kids were lost and stepped in to help out. Each time I hear the story, my thoughts go out to that woman who just stepped in and helped out without knowing the children or the parents or just anything. Just she saw a situation and did what needed to be done. That's the spirit of heroes and heroines. They just step in and rise to the occasion, doing what needs to be done without thinking of any gains. The last few weeks have been harrowing as we watched the unfolding of events in Ukraine. I'm not getting into the right and wrong of it at this point in time. But what has perhaps surprised the world and at the same time made everyone sit up in awe is the heroicness of the people of Ukraine, led by their leader. Every day as I go through the news, I'm amazed to see the stories of the common man and the woman, of families, of just people that are doing everything they can in that moment. They are rising to the occasion in the face of extreme adversity. And this is what heroes and heroines do. At the heart of heroism is compassion, is empathy, and it's putting others before yourself. And let me tell you, we need heroes. Yes, we have role models and mentors, but it's the heroes that inspire you to do something that is much bigger than yourselves. So, fellow Mavericks, take a moment to think of your hero or heroine in all the categories. Yes, think of your superhero or heroine, your real life hero or heroine, and then your real life hero or heroine. You will be surprised to know that there's a common thread there, or maybe many common threads stitching together a tapestry of qualities. Yes, I'm telling you, one chooses heroes and heroines that resonate with us, with our beliefs, and that inspire us. As you start the last month of the first quarter of the year, draw inspiration from your heroes and heroines, and believe you me, the motivation pushes us to become better versions of our true selves. Do keep writing your comments and sharing your feedback at theordinarymaverick@gmail.com. And follow me on Instagram, #theordinarymaverick. I love hearing from you. This is Ajay signing off and wishing you have an amazing day, a super amazing year. Stay well, keep safe. Credits. This podcast series was put together as a team effort from the Bhardwaj family. Concept, design, title, researchers, and reviewers Ajay, Sanjana, Avantika, and Niharika Bhardwaj. Script, Sanjana. Cover design, Niharika. All rights reserved.